and welcome to this week's edition of the Majin News, the place where you can get a quick overview of the goings-on in the world of Dragon Ball from around the world. Without further ado, here are the biggest news announcements from the previous week. Further denials have been reported by staff members regarding the future of Dragonball Super on television. After various reports from either side, the producer of the Dragonball Super Broly movie spoke out at a recent event in Beijing. At the 2019 International Beijing Film Festival, Norihiro Hayashida was asked a question addressing the continuation of Dragonball Super in 2019. In response, Mr. Hayashida said this: "Nothing is fixed now. Toei hasn't come up with anything yet. Not anything about arrangements and when it will start. We are looking forward to it as eagerly as everyone else. There is nothing that we can answer about it right now." The Twitter user GoVitaXV also supplied footage from the event to corroborate what Mr. Hayashida told the awaiting public. With those comments adding to the ever-changing status of the show's future, all that can be said is that the desire for a new series to return has rarely been higher. Mr. Hayashida's comments also imply that Toei hasn't even started production on a returning series, and that the series will not be debuting in 2019 should any of it be in development. However, as our source continues to point out, one thing I would like to tell you: don't take any Toei employee words seriously. Just like Toriyama doesn't take his fans' words seriously and does the opposite of it. This statement refers to the show's creator, Akira Toriyama, and his regular comments on his approach to fan feedback. Should the situation change, you can expect a special report of Majin news to surface. Continuing with Dragon Ball Super Broly, the movie has now released in the US on Blu-ray and DVD. However, reports have surfaced that physical copies of the movie are being shipped with a green tint. This tinting has also been reported on Funimation's releases for Dragon Ball Z Kai: The Final Chapters. In various screenings of the film outside of Japan, this tinting has also been reported. The YouTube user Anime AJ did a comparison with various copies of the movie and found that there was a difference between Funimation's version of the release and the version released by the UK distributor of the movie, Manga Entertainment. Following this, Manga Entertainment tweeted out information of the UK release of Dragon Ball Super Broly, detailing what its release would contain. In what seemed like a direct poke at the issues surrounding the American version, Manga Entertainment's version would contain no green tint as shown by Anime AJ. The movie would also contain no extras, which were bundled in the US release due to a lack of approval. Approval from what source exactly was not elaborated on. This version is expected to be released on iTunes and digital download in the UK on May the 13th, and physical versions will arrive on May 27th. Anime News Network's senior contributor Justin Savickas, aka The Answer Man, set out to address the concerns regarding the Funimation release of the 30th anniversary of Dragon Ball Z, which has now reached its goal of 3,000 reservations before May. In Mr. Savickas' article, it lists out the logistical difficulties of bringing truly HD renderings of Dragon Ball episodes to the screens with the limited resources that Funimation have to hand. The article reads: "Toei Animation has not done a new HD scan for Dragon Ball Z, at least outside of what was used to make Dragon Ball Z Kai. Instead, Funimation is doing their own HD scan of copies of 16mm elements they've had in their possession for decades. Everything in that original film, its image, its grain, any dirt stuck to the film, scratches or splices, get exposed onto the new film stock. Every time you copy a film, it gets grainier, dirtier, blurrier and higher contrast. 16mm film, which Dragon Ball Z was recorded to, is already grainy. What Funimation has to work with is at least a generation or two removed from the original camera negative. It's far blurrier and grainier than we'd expect of an HD image. And so, they tried to remove it. With this clarification in mind, it is the belief that this release should still be approached with caution, as there is a potentially better source out there which may be used for a future collection. More information and reviews will be made on this topic and bundle in future reports." In our gaming roundup, various news stories surfaced regarding new characters appearing in video games for the Dragon Ball universe and franchise. First off is the revelation that Super Saiyan God Vegeta will appear in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 in June of this year. Not much else was supplied in the tweet delivered by Bandai Namco of Japan, but this paid DLC will come to both the PS4 and Switch versions of the game, with most likely an iteration for Western audiences on Xbox One. Another game featuring Dragon Ball characters, Jump Force, will have another character from the Dragon Ball universe join its ranks in the game's first DLC phase, which contains 7 characters. Majin Buu will be teaming up with Goku, Trunks, Piccolo, Vegeta, Frieza and Cell to bring the entire roster of characters to almost 50. This news was originally brought to light from Ryokutia 2089 via the BBS site Gematsu. And the biggest game in question on everyone's lips was the news regarding on what special attacks Kid Goku from Dragon Ball GT would have in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and whether or not it would use Super Saiyan 4 Goku in any way. The answer has been addressed, and it does not emulate a transformation such as Golden Frieza. Instead, Event Hubs described the implementation thusly. Super Saiyan 4 will instead seemingly be relegated to a variation of his meteor attack. When his teammates are knocked out, Kid Goku's Dragon Fist Super will change from its standard rush attack to the overpowered Super Saiyan 4, where he'll perform the iconic punch through with the Golden Dragon used to defeat Omega Shenron. This method is meant to be similar to the power boost that various iterations of Goku get during a particular attack to help enhance their efficacy, such as Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken for Goku's ultimate attacks. Whether this will be a fair or welcome addition to the ranks in Dragon Ball FighterZ remains to be seen, as images containing Super Saiyan 4 Goku in the game have yet to surface. We shall report this when news of this arrives. Episode 11 of Super Dragon Ball Heroes has had its release date announced the same day that Episode 10 of the series debuted. A review of it you can find in the show notes or in the link above. The 11th episode, titled Fierce Fight, Universe 11's Climactic Battle, will showcase Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, last seen in Dragon Ball Super's Universe Survival Arc. The release date for said episode is reported to be May the 9th, a day which is officially recognized in Japan as Goku Day, something that in itself was confirmed back in 2015 by the Japan Anniversary Association, an organization which was established to recognize feats in Japanese culture for the masses. Although this organization lacks government support, the gesture makes for a very apt release for an episode. And finally, one of the greatest enigmas in Dragon Ball may have been cleared up by one Reddit user. The Reddit user Summerflux has managed to decipher the language and code used for scouters in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. In their post, Summerflux described the whole process of unlocking the code, which began when Broly's power level was being read and 3 characters that looked the same appeared, which they believed to be the letter R, which would then spell out error in context to the power level and the device shorting out. Whether this code can be used to decode scouter readings in Dragon Ball Z is inconclusive. In various experiments conducted by Majin News, our research proved that these symbols and characters do appear in Dragon Ball Z, but not necessarily in a coherent order. Should you find evidence to support this alphabet or to contradict it, you can report it to us via Twitter using the hashtag #MajinNews. That is all from today's Majin News. If you have any news concerning Dragon Ball that may be of interest to us, use the hashtag #MajinNews and we shall credit you and fact check the information. Thank you, and until next week, it's goodbye from us.